Okay, so we'll go over this section right here. So the first thing we need to establish is, do we have two floors with two different ceiling heights, right? Or two areas of our structure with two different ceiling heights? If we do, we have to click this button right here. But if we don't, then you don't click it, right? So even if you have multiple floors, you don't necessarily need to click this button. This just basically tells you, hey, if you have studs that are going to be a different height, let's put that into this section right here, right? So as you can see, we have our ceiling height right here. And so this is going to establish what our length of our studs are going to be, right? And then how many studs will be determined by the information we put in over here, our wall lengths. So if we have two different stud heights, right, for different floors, right, we can put that in right here. And then whenever we are in our second floor, all we do when we put in the length of our wall, whatever it may be, we just got to make sure we click that second floor button, because that will tell the program, hey, let's do studs at this length in our second floor section. So the first, the other things we can put on default is going to be 2x6 stud for our exterior walls, right? If you're framing exterior walls 2x4s, just click that button right there. Default will be 16 on center, but if you want to frame your walls 24 on center, click that. You can see it's changing the number. You can see how it already changes in real time the number of studs you need. The total number of exterior doors and total number of windows is important, because the way this system has, you can customize this over here in this section if you want. But you're going to want to add extra studs for your doors and windows, right? Because you have king studs and jack studs and sills. So the default is going to be, you're going to add 3 studs per window and 2 studs per door. You can change that right here. So just make sure you put in your total number of exterior doors and total number of windows, and that way, you know, you'll have a better estimate of the amount of studs you need. Now, type of roof and the roof pitch is really important, because for our rake walls, which I explain right here in further depth, just click that question mark for a video on that. This will help calculate the studs that are needed for our rake walls, right? Because our rake walls are going to be, they're not going to be square. So the lengths of these studs, whether or not it's balloon framed or whether or not it's just framed like this or like this, those heights are going to be determined by the type of roof it is and the roof pitch. So make sure you put that in, so that when you select your wall as a rake wall, it pulls from this information to say how many studs we need and how long of studs.